question, and honestly a fundamental tension at times, is do you sell what somebody asks for and just let them buy it? Or do you have the sort of authority or courage to maybe recommend something else? What happens, at least for me, in how we think about it is we want to be great partners and we want people to thrive at whatever they're doing. And one of the ways that we approach sales is we like to just say, I want to give this person great advice and be honest and helpful first and foremost, regardless of what that has to do with them hiring my team. So if we joke that like when I sit down in a sales conversation, I try to put on my chief marketing officer hat and genuinely be able to think, what should this organization be doing from my opinion, my experience to grow? Maybe that's things Magneti does and they can hire us for. Maybe it's not. Here's a really common one that pops up. It's really hard for Magneti to work with organizations so small that they don't have a dedicated marketing manager of some kind. You know, small companies, small businesses, sometimes they've got staff all over the place, but hiring a dedicated marketing person, maybe they haven't allocated budget to that yet. Now, this is less going to be in bigger B2B, obviously enterprise companies have massive marketing departments in some of the smaller clients, but here's the point. Is it's really hard for agencies to succeed if there's not an in-house point of contact on marketing. And that's something we tell people right away. Hey, I know you've got budget for the year and you're thinking about giving it all to us. I actually think it would be better used, you're going to get more out of your agency if you have a person or a team dedicated to interacting with us. So don't give us all your budget. You should go hire a person or two or however many to make sure we can succeed. So that's an example of how sometimes when we sit down in the sales process, we'll say, this isn't going to make more revenue for Magneti per se, but you really need this to be able to move forward. So to your point about social media versus selling them something else, lots of times I'm just very honest about, hey, you're thinking that your problem is social media. I don't think that's the problem. You're doing it already. It seems to be pretty good. You're nailing some of the tactics. We can certainly do social media for you if you want, but we think there's some other ways you could spend budget to get more results for your organization. So as long as I am trying to be helpful in every meeting that I'm in, I don't get too wrapped around the axle on, well, they came for me on social media, but am I going to try and sell them research? I'm not really trying to sell anything. I'm trying to be as helpful as possible. So, but if they come back and say, listen, we really have a deficit in social media. I hear you, but we don't want research. We want social media. Okay, great. Then we can be as helpful there as possible. So I think there's just this interesting tension on, as a sales guy, saying, yes, I want to close deals, and that's part of my job as an owner of the company. But if I can be as helpful to as many people as possible and help them get the solutions that they want, whether that's with Magneti or not, Magneti will grow over time because that's the kind of mentality and attitude people want to be a part of. And so I have to play the long-term game versus the short-term game, right? Like, well, I could sell them a little social media package and get a little revenue out of them, but then we might not be positioned to succeed at that anyway because they have all these other problems in the business. So maybe we get fired eventually because we're not positioned to succeed. So it's not really work we'd set us up to succeed in the long term. So being able to kind of parse out short term versus long term and having a heart and an attitude to help and to serve in every conversation is really, that's the basis of how I do it. And it tends to work great, so that when I say, you know, let's go upstream a little bit and let's talk through some of these things. Do you want help with that? You know, that conversation is very natural, and people understand the mentality that we have, and it tends to work really well. It's just, I'm here to help. And if that's good for Magneti and there's a mutual fit, fantastic. If not, I've got some ideas for you. I've got some resources for you, and I can point you in another direction if it's not Magneti.